Hello, welcome back. And yes, yesterday we did have the Rugby World Cup final, and there are so many things that we can talk about. What happened yesterday? The most important thing is South Africa won, and a lot of people do question that they deserve to win, that they play well enough to win, that New Zealand actually played better, but they didn't win. It doesn't matter. That's the difference. It doesn't matter. It's all about the final score. Now, if we look at what can we take out of the game, firstly, I would like to say that the scrum, and we all spoke about the scrum, whoever dominates the scrum would actually dominate the pack of forwards. And that actually came down to one thing. Both teams scrummed extremely well. Bongi, unfortunately, injured quite early in the game, and I thought Dion Fourie did a great job. Um, Overall, lineouts, a little bit of a surprise because South Africa don't really like to contest in lineouts. RG Snyman is actually the only guy doing that. Yesterday, I thought Eben Etzebeth was absolutely brilliant. He really put a lot of pressure on their number two, and the lineouts didn't really work all that well for New Zealand. At some stages, you could feel that, yes, one or two lineouts didn't work for South Africa. The ball on the ground, it was. I'm trying to find the right words to talk about the game because it was such a difficult game to talk about because at the end, when the final whistle went, it was like, okay, it's over now. What now? And that's the way I look at the game. Now, apart from that, New Zealand really tried on a number of occasions to break the advantage line, but we have to compliment Peter Steph du Toit again with his defense. But then Frans Malherbe did that. Dion Fourie did that. The backline did it. We've seen fantastic defense. You've seen New Zealand trying to get, as I mentioned, over the advantage line, trying to get momentum into the game. But the most important thing is they just weren't allowed by a South African team that decided, you know what? And they say, and it's amazing how I want to say history repeats itself. They say sometimes defense can win you championships. Defense won South Africa a World Cup. So that's what I take out of it. Then we look at other aspects. You look at New Zealand missing two kicks. Pollard, absolutely brilliant again in the kicking department, not missing one kick. Um, Two kicks for New Zealand, yes, different ballgame. But the thing is, you play in the final, you get your opportunities, you use your opportunities, you win. You don't use your opportunities, you lose. I thought, looking at, and I'm going to look at the two teams as such, I thought Bowden Barrett wasn't really at his best at number 15. I thought the two wingers did extremely well. They were extremely difficult to tackle. They handled the up and unders good, not great, good. I thought in the midfield they really tried to get over the advantage line, as I mentioned a couple of times, trying to get the forwards in the game. Mwanga, I thought, played a good game at fly off. Aaron Smith, I thought, played a good game at scrum off. The loose forwards, they were under tremendous pressure because of the red card. We'll get to the red card a little bit later. The locks did their job, the front row did their job. So, in all, I felt that on a number of occasions, uh, Bowden Barrett were a little bit under pressure, not really getting grips with the high ball. Missed maybe more opportunities to get New Zealand on the front foot by not really securing the up and under. And then looking at South Africa, I thought Damian Willems was absolutely magnificent under the high ball. The two wingers, I thought, did their part. The two centers really, really made sure that nobody was going to get over the advantage line in the midfield. Pollard, I think we have to give a lot of credit to, because you could see that he was really so confident at number 10 that it made it difficult for New Zealand to penetrate, to get over the advantage line, to put him under pressure. He was not nice, calm, collected, and he did a fantastic game. Faf, I thought he was one of the better players on the field. And then Dwayne Vermeulen played well yesterday. Peter Steff, as I mentioned on a number of occasions. Our captain, Sia, I thought he really played a good game. Eben Etzebeth, absolutely fantastic. Franco Mostert, I think, needs to get a little bit more recognition for all the hard work. He's not the tallest lock, and I think sometimes we're not fair because he's not a RG Snyman, he's not a Eben Etzebeth, but his work rate is phenomenal. And then the front row, with the change of Bonge quite early and Dion came in, I thought in general, both teams actually, all the players did actually their part for their teams. But as I did mention, I thought at fullback, New Zealand a little bit vulnerable. All aspects of the game. The kickoffs were fine, the lineouts weren't that great. Both sides. South Africa started very well, but at the end they did lose one or two lineouts. Could have changed the game. The kicking game, I thought South Africa actually had the better kicking game, in the sense that when South Africa kicked, they could generate more pressure on the catcher of the ball, where New Zealand sort of, their up and unders went a little bit too far, and they couldn't really, that whole thing that England did so well against South Africa, contest the high ball and put South Africa under tremendous pressure. The try that Barrett scored, I thought, was very well worked. They scored another one, but as we know, to score a try lately, you have to do everything absolutely 100%. Otherwise, they're going to cancel it. And there was a knock in the lineout, and they cancelled the try. But the try as such, I thought was actually quite a nice try. Um, and then, the card. Let's look at the card. I honestly believe that Sam Kane was hard done by. He was moving in a direction, but the step of Jesse Kriel actually got him off guard. That's the way I look at it. And he sort of stepped into Sam Kane, and you could see Sam Kane wasn't really ready for the tackle, and then suddenly he had Jesse Kriel in his face, and he made the tackle. And I thought the red card was really hard. I don't think, a lot of people is talking about the red card that South African gets as red card. I thought, that would have also been extremely harsh. Maybe a yellow card. But the thing is, if you look at the injury of Bonge, and I really felt for him, because I think he wanted the final. He wanted to play as long as he could to show everybody, he's a great hooker, and we all know he's a great hooker. But now the call was that the All Black player sort of fell onto his knee, and that created the opportunity to give the yellow card. It's, think for yourself. You going and you play, and you actually do something. You never know what the end result is going to be. If I come in and I hit you with a stiff arm on the chin, I know what the end result's going to be. I know that. Okay. If I run and I take you I take you, your jersey, or I take you on your chest and I headbutt you, I know what the end result is. But if I tackle you and I roll, I don't know what the end result's going to be. So I thought that was also quite, a call that it's a little bit more a rugby incident than actually a player running, getting involved in play, and he in his mind made up that, oh, if I do this and this and this, I am going to get that result. And that's why I thought that that yellow card wasn't really a yellow card. Unfortunate for the injury, but I think it was a very, very harsh call, and even those 10 minutes shouldn't, he should have stayed on the field. But all in all, a lot of people say maybe the greatest ever final. I doubt that. I'm just glad South Africa won, and that's the end of it. But let's have just a quick recap on the World Cup. I thought, in general, some of the lesser known unions absolutely played superb rugby. I thought Italy was a big disappointment. They never really got going. I thought there was more talk about Scotland than they can actually produce. Wales, same story, a lot of talk. Never expected anything from them. Realized early on that Argentina is a good side, not a great side. I think the score in the semi-final proved that. England, for me, was a little bit the bigger surprise because they just went back to basics and they were very successful in doing that. I thought France did very well throughout the World Cup, same as Ireland, both teams. I thought they had good World Cups, can really look back at this year's World Cup and say we had really good campaigns. But the question, and I will raise it, is were they good enough to win the World Cup? And I think looking back at who we had in the final, um, the kind of final I'm not excited about. I've told you that. The score, extremely excited about. I'm extremely proud of those, must say, coaching staff, the whole squad, but the 23 players involved in yesterday's final. It was just absolutely magnificent. But in general, I thought a successful World Cup. The crowds were unbelievable. What I love is the interaction of other sporting codes. Djokovic watching the final, Federer watching the final. I love things like that. We had some people from Hollywood hanging around some rugby games, and I thought it just shows you how life actually changed. Because 20 years ago it was rugby people watching rugby. Suddenly the world is watching rugby, and that's why I'm even more proud today to say I'm a South African, because the whole of the world knows again South Africa defended its World Cup. Same as New Zealand 2011, 2015. Now we can say 2019, 2023. So unbelievable. South Africa, first team to win 4 World Cups. Unbelievable. It is just absolutely amazing. And what people don't really realize is these guys are weeks and weeks and weeks and months away from home. I know it's their job, and I'm one of those guys. Hey, that's your job. You're getting paid for it. And you take any normal business guy, if he's 3, 4 months away from his house, that's from home. That's how it works. But I think let's give credit to a lot of people. It sounds to me like it was organized extremely well by the French, so they can be proud of it. They would have loved to see their team in the final. But again, I'm saying the two better teams did play in the final. If you talk about players that really stood out, I think in general, a number of individuals, really, a number of individuals stood out. Um, just too many to mention. But sometimes we saw teams with fantastic individuals, but they just never really got it going as a team. So that's why it's sometimes difficult to, you know, to just say, oh, but that player, he deserves a little bit more. But his team didn't play well. So then sometimes you don't give recognition to those players. And I think that's where we need to be very careful, who was the best? Simple. Who won the final? South Africa. And that's it. And I can't wait for the next World Cup because there are a number of really fantastic rugby players that's just going to retire, move on, go and play. I think 9 All Blacks at the end. Um, 8 of them are going to play overseas, so they won't be able to play for New Zealand. But who knows? Life changed so quickly lately that they might change some of the laws. New Zealand might look at their structures, South Africa look at their structures. Everybody else will look at their structures and say, what's the best for the game? Because I think that's where we need to get to. What's the best for the game? There are definitely a number of laws that we need to revisit. The card system, I thought in the beginning it was, just too many. Then quarterfinal, semi-final. I thought it was nice and relaxed. Uh, People really thought, okay, we got that system on the right track, and then suddenly in the final we had a red card, unfortunately. And I still believe it shouldn't have been a red card. But it's done. Final score is on the board. And I would like to say, from next week on, we're going to talk a little bit on the URC. And as we go along, I love all sports, so we will definitely get into other sporting codes. Not me giving an opinion, but the guys that's in the sport give their opinions, and we'll just grow and grow, and that's how we're going to go. But I just hope that every South African are extremely proud of what the team achieved at this World Cup, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I love that somebody, and it just shows you how many clever people there are outside. I, the game wasn't like 5 seconds over, and somebody said something like, "We beat France by 1 point, we beat England by 1 point, we beat New Zealand by 1 point, and that's to prove a point." And I thought that's absolutely brilliant. What did we prove? We proved we are the world champions. And now it's going to be for 8 years. Same as what New Zealand did. For 8 years, they could say they're the world champions. Doesn't matter what happens in between now and the next World Cup, we're still going to be the world champions till the next world champion. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll talk later.